Hello and welcome to the Beyond the Art of Manifesting podcast. My name is Sarah Morgan. I am your host and I'm also the creator and founder of Mastering the Art of Manifesting. It is my insatiable passion to help hundreds of millions globally to master the art of manifesting, to become the powerful creators they were born to be, and to unlock everything that is in their vortex. This podcast is for everybody out there who wants to know what happens next once you've mastered the art of manifesting, because I had no idea what working with law of attraction would lead to. So I'm now on a whole new phase of expansion and I'm learning loads of leading edge new insights. This is for everybody out there that is ready for more than just law of attraction, ready for more than just manifesting, because really and truly, that is only the warm-up. Hello, my darlings, and welcome to my first ever podcast episode. I am so excited and honoured to have you here listening to this. I have been playing with the energy of doing a podcast for ages actually, and I've been waiting for the right time to do so, and now is absolutely the divine right time, and I am so excited to begin. So this podcast is, as I've just said in the introduction, is all about what happens after you have mastered the art of manifesting. So today, in this first episode, I'm just going to be telling you about me, my story, what's happened over the last few years, what's happened especially this year, and I want to sort of just show you how much more there is out there. So there is so much more than just mastering the art of manifesting, and my life has changed ginormously over the last few years, and it's only going to change more and more and more in the most exciting and delicious way. So I'll just start off by introducing myself. So for those that don't know me, my name is Sarah Morgan. I am a global law of attraction coach. I've been coaching thousands around the world now for about just over 2 years. I've been coaching how to master the art of manifesting and how to leverage law of attraction. And it's my passion to help hundreds of millions globally throughout my lifetime and beyond. And I've always been very clear that I want to demystify law of attraction and simplify it and make it way more mainstream so that you can really use it and access it. So I know for me, I read loads of law of attraction books for years. I've been into law of attraction for well over a decade now. And I still found I was having a lot of, blocks in terms of me really allowing that positive manifesting flow into my experience. And so everything that I teach are the tools that I have found to really cut through and get you into that positive manifesting flow. Because if you are like me, and the chances are you will be, because it's law of attraction and like attracts like, I would find that my mental chatter, my mindset, my ego would get in the way a lot and actually stop that positive manifesting flow. So as I said, I've been working with clients for about 2 years now around the globe. I've written 2 books. The first book is called Welcome to the Beginning of Everything You Want, which is a 21-day guide to positive manifesting flow. My second book is called It's Time to Get Your Money Flow On, which again is a 21-day guide to positive money manifesting flow. And there's loads more books in the pipeline. I've had loads of universal guidance. I've already got about 5 in the pipeline that are waiting to be written, and I'm sure that number's going to increase. I've also hosted events. So I hosted my first event in London back in December last year, December 2018, called Limitless in London. And my key messaging is that you are really, truly, completely and utterly limitless. Everything you desire, you can manifest. So I've been coaching for about 2 years. I have myself transformed my own life using law of attraction. So I will only ever coach what I have mastered myself. So I have been studying law of attraction for about 10 years. I've been a huge fan of Abraham Hicks now for over 10 years as well. And their book, Ask and It Is Given, transformed, well, that was the starting point of transforming my life. I remember my sister bought me that book, and I remember when she gave it to me, I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. What the heck is it? And I just put it on my bookshelf, and I didn't really pick it up for a few months. And then one day I picked it up, and as soon as I started reading it, I was like, this is it. This is the truth. This is the missing jigsaw piece. This is the answer to everything. At the time, I was working in a London PR career, and I was actually living with a friend in her spare room at that time because I had got myself into lots of debt financially, and I'd gone off to Spain to travel for a bit, then came back. And I was living with her, and I remember reading that book in the spare room in her house. And I remember she had one of those beds that you pull out to make a double bed. So, and actually, I've never really shared this before. So all of you guys who followed my work for the last couple of years, but who are listening to this podcast can hear this bit. I used to every night pull out that bed to make it a double to sleep in it. So you can imagine the size of the room. It's kind of like this box spare room. But actually, living with her was one of the most magical times of my life. We are complete and utter besties. I adore her. And it was this very special time because that's when I was reading Ask and It Is Given. And actually that is the time that I started using one of their processes, which is called the debt process. And using that process, I cleared about £30,000 worth of debt in 18 months, which a lot of people that have followed my work will know that I mentioned in my money book, and that I mentioned in my money courses as well. So found Abraham Hicks then, loved Abraham Hicks. I remember one point, again, lots of stories. I feel like this is what's going to happen on this podcast. There's going to be loads of stories that come out that haven't been shared before. I can already feel that's what's happening. I remember one point when I lived with my friend and I had found that book. I remember emailing Esther Hicks, and she had an event in London, I think the year or a couple of years before. And I remember messaging her. I can't even really remember what I said, but something along the lines of, if you want any help when you're over in London, like, I would love to like help you, or if there's any work I can do or any way I can support you over in the UK, let me know. And I did get a response back from her team, which was very sweet, but obviously it didn't really go anywhere. They didn't really need me. So yeah, after that, I kind of stayed in PR for a few more years, and I knew I wasn't happy there. So before I lived with my friend in her place, I had tried to leave PR because at that point, although I didn't know what it was, I was getting this nudge that I didn't want to be in PR. So I left and went to Spain, came back, lived with my friend, and went straight back into the same PR job, for goodness sake. Then I tried to leave again and came back again. And then it was the summer of, I think, 2015. I finally, because I hadn't been listening to the nudges from the universe to leave PR, I kept trying to leave it and then going back. I remember I was at work one day, something really big happened and it was really stressful, and it was a real wake-up call for me. I suddenly just had this moment of clarity where I realised there's no way I could do this for the next 40 or 50 years of my life. So I handed in my notice because I really got to the point where I was like, I cannot do this anymore. I'd been unhappy really for about 5 years, and it had been building and building and building, which is what happens with the universe. When you don't listen to the guidance, those nudges will get stronger and stronger and stronger, especially if in your life you have chosen before you come forth into physical to do certain things. And one of the things that's in my soul contract, and soul contracts is one of the things I'll be talking about on this podcast because I didn't even know about a soul contract a few months ago. My soul contract was to work with law of attraction and to work with hundreds of millions around the world. And so obviously that clout from the universe was quite a big one to actually get me to move. So I left PR. I then went into network marketing for about 18 months. And again, that took me through to, I think, January, or spring 2017. And I'd been in network marketing for about 18 months, and I realised that I was manifesting what I needed, like the cash flow. I had manifested my dream cottage. I'd manifested all of that. And I remember sitting here in this cottage, because I'm still here today, and I suddenly looked around and I just thought, I've manifested everything I said I wanted, but network marketing isn't actually bringing it to me. It's coming through other means. And then I realised actually I wasn't really enjoying network marketing, although I met and I'm still connected to so many amazing people in the industry. For me, it was definitely a stepping stone to then get me into what I'm doing now. And I remember just thinking, I know if I'm meant to be doing something, it's going to move really quickly and easily for me. Network, and again, that must have been guidance from the universe, because it was such a strong, I know if it's meant to work, it will work. So I decided to stop network marketing because, again, I realised I had left London, I'd left PR to do what made my heart sing, and network marketing wasn't actually doing that. So then I decided to stop network marketing. Then I went into about 5 weeks of meltdown and panic, just thinking, if I do not do network marketing, what on earth am I going to do? Because there's no way I want to go back and work in London in the 9 to 5. And I had that real kind of energy and vibration of fear and being stuck and everything being a bit hopeless, and what on earth was I going to do? And it was around that time I was recommended by my gorgeous landlady, because I rent this cottage. And again, the story about all of that I'm sure will come out in this podcast. Many of you who are listening to this would have already heard that story or read about it in one of my books. She recommended the book Lucky Bitch by Denise Duffield Thomas, who is an Australian law of attraction coach. Many of you will know her already. She's amazing. I love her. And I read her book and I didn't even get to the end of it. I just remember there was one thing in that book that the universe wanted me to hear, because then I didn't read the rest of the book. And it was where she talks about how she'd been to a workshop, and at that workshop they spoke to her about writing her dream day out, her ideal day out every day. And she started to do that and then manifested all this amazing stuff. And for whatever reason, that is the one thing in that book that stood out for me. So I took that tool and I started using it, and I started journaling about what my dream day would look like. And I remember journaling about, having a true laptop lifestyle, waking up to messages of thanks every day, helping people. And in the depths of the fear, whilst doing that journaling over 2 or 3 weeks, I started to sort of feel excited and hopeful again, and started to get some clarity, because you know what it's like when you're really stuck. You have all of this head fog. So the head fog started to clear, and I remember clearly one morning sitting here in my bedroom in this cottage and just getting this inspired action, which was obviously a message from the universe. And the inspired action was that I love helping people and I love law of attraction, so let's try being a law of attraction coach. And I think because my back was up against the wall, I had nothing to lose. I was like, screw it, I'm just going to try it and see if I'm any good. And then literally since then, it's just been this epic journey of expansion. So where are we now? We're in June 2019. This all started back in May 2017. So it's been about 19 or I think we're in month 20 now. No, that's not right, is it? We're in month 26 now of this journey. Yeah, that's right. I'm having to sort out my maths. Since then it's just been rapid. The first 2 weeks of becoming a law of attraction coach, because I just started with some pilot coaching. I had about, I think it was 18 pilot clients. By the end of that May, I had launched my first group program. I'd signed up my first 2 one-to-one clients. It just flew, and I was finding that my heart was singing every single day, so my vibration was really high. So you can imagine the manifestations that followed. Within 6 months I was turning over a 6-figure income, whereas at the start of the journey I'd only been earning like a few £100s a month. I was literally earning the basics that I needed to keep me going. And then by the end of that first year, I had written my first book. I'd had my first month that worked out to an annual equivalent of a multiple 6-figure income. It just flew so fast, and I had all these amazing clients all around the world. And now today it's still the same. I work with amazing clients all around the world. There's been a bit of a shift recently, actually. They are more UK based, but there are definitely that's quite interesting. The universe is obviously shifting me to be more UK focused at the minute, but I've definitely sort of had so many clients, around the world. And I do private coaching, I have self-study courses, and it's just absolutely amazing. And what I've really learned is that when you follow the universal guidance, when you follow what makes your heart sing, everything else falls into place. But so often you do have to make that leap. You have to take those first few steps. So, for example, me leaving my job, me just thinking, right, I'm just going to move with that inspired action of being a law of attraction coach. And so everything's just flown ever since. So that's kind of my story. 12 years in PR. Such a normal kind of story. You work nine to 5, but then suddenly when I moved with my passion, everything opened up. Now, this podcast is about what has happened whilst, after mastering the art of manifesting. So this podcast series is going to be telling you about what comes next, because what happened is, because I expanded so fast over those months, that first year and a half in my business, I then reached an expansion ceiling. So I didn't even know what any of this was. All I knew was things were feeling a little bit, stagnant and a bit stuck, and there was a lot of contrast coming up in my experience. So if you don't know what contrast is, many of you will, because this podcast really is for people that understand law of attraction but want to take it further. Contrast is an experience that feels uncomfortable. It's you don't feel great. Whilst it's happening, it can be anything from like a mild low vibration feeling to an extreme low vibration feeling. But contrast is anything that feels a bit uncomfortable. So I had all these things going on. I wasn't actually feeling that happy and fulfilled. And the universe was really again trying to get me to move and kind of crack through the expansion ceiling. So in January of this year, I decided that actually I really wanted to work closely with amazing friends of mine. I'm very lucky that they're friends of mine, and amazing teachers and healers called Olivia and Raf Okanya. So again, a lot of you listening to this podcast will know them. And I don't even know where to start with them. Don't worry, that we've got so many episodes of this podcast to come, so I will share everything because there's just so much to tell you. But for those of you that don't know, Olivia and Raf Okanya can also channel and receive the collective consciousness called Abraham. So in the same way that Esther Hicks receives Abraham, Olivia and Raf can receive Abraham as well. So again, this all kind of came, this all became public last May, and it was a really exciting journey to be a part of. I was the first one to sort of interview them in my Facebook group, and Olivia and Raf, especially Olivia, I've known for years. They're dear friends of mine. And what happened was last year I was working with Liv a lot, just in the background, and kind of obviously really excited about the whole Abraham thing. During that time, found out that I had been trained by Abraham in non-physical, that I could read people's vortexes. It's still something I am developing and expanding at the minute. So this, you can imagine, for me, huge fan of like Esther Hicks and Abraham, and then Olivia and Raf can receive Abraham. It was very exciting. So I'd been working with Liv for quite a while, and then in January of this year I just hit major contrast, and I just messaged Liv and Raf and said, right, I'm ready to work with you and heal myself from the fear and basically go through the awakening process. So since January this year, I have been working closely with Liv and Raf behind the scenes and going through an awakening journey. And I mean, honestly, it just blows my mind. I've learned so much from them. And I have to say, when I started my law of attraction business, I had no idea 2 years later I would be going into an awakening, that I would now be accessing all of this amazing stuff that I didn't even have a clue about 2 years ago. And, when I started my business, I was very passionate about demystifying law of attraction and showing people that, you don't have to be you don't have to be woo-woo, you don't have to have loads of crystals. You don't have to hug trees. I was very much like, I want to demystify it. And now I find it quite funny because I'm here 2 years later. I'm talking about my higher self a lot, talking about, going through the awakening process. And there is so much more that I'm learning. And that is what I want to share in this podcast, because manifesting now is becoming more mainstream. When I started, only about 5% of the population knew what law of attraction was and intentionally used it. I know that last December that has kind of increased to about 7%, and I know that's going to be increasing more now, because more and more and more people are understanding law of attraction and manifesting. And in fact, I've actually coached a lot of people to go out and coach it too. So awareness is on the rise. So it is becoming more and more and more mainstream now, which is brilliant, because my vision is to help hunt hundreds of millions and to have this ripple effect of loads of us around the world working together and teaching this stuff. But now what I want to do is bring you what happens next, because I had no clue that once I mastered the art of manifesting that I would be experiencing what I'm now experiencing, which is expansion on a whole new amazing level. So over the coming weeks, as I come on and share these podcast episodes with you, I'm going to be giving you and sharing with you so much insight. So I'm going to be talking about the awakening process, what that actually is, what it entails, my experience of it. I'm going to be talking to you about my higher self, and everybody has a higher self. So again, this has all been learned from Liv and Raf. So I know Liv and Raf have a book coming out in the near future called Believe. Their Facebook group, if you want to check them out, is called Abraham and Jesus Begin. So they receive Abraham, they receive lots of other collective consciousnesses as well. And honestly, they are incredible. So much more to be revealed about that over the coming weeks as well. We'll be talking about higher selves. We're talking about soul contracts, like collectives, the multiverse. We're part of a multiverse, not a universe. I remember when Liv just dropped that into conversation last December, I was like, what? We're part of a multiverse? We will be talking about other universal laws that you can harness to amplify law of attraction even more. So now I daily work with law of balance, law of truth, and law of desire, as well as law of attraction. We'll be talking about the gifts that are starting to open up for me as you move through the awakening process and you become a clearer channel to receive effectively. You start to receive gifts, basically, because everybody on planet Earth have signed into soul contracts. We'll be talking about soul contracts over the coming weeks as well, and they come forth, and we're here to really shine, and we all have a purpose, and we all have these gifts. And there's quite a few people I know that are now also going through the awakening process, and these gifts are starting to emerge for them all. So it's like manifesting is like real life adult magic, and then past the art of manifesting, like beyond the art of manifesting, it will just blow your mind and blow your socks off. And I went to the Believe retreat in Spain back at the end of April 2019, and it was really only about 2 weeks ago, so at the end of May, that I was able to process everything. There was so much jaw-dropping insight at that retreat hosted by Liv and Raf that literally I came back and my jaw was on the floor pretty much the entire time. So I've now sort of just getting my head around it. But I think what I want to share is my journey that I've been on, especially over the last 6 months. The awakening process for me started in January. We're now in June, and just all these new things. I'll be talking about guides. I'll be introducing one of my guides to you that I don't think anyone really knows about yet. I've only mentioned it to a couple of people, and there's so much more to come for me. I'm not through I'm not through this process yet. When I'm fully awakened, there will be so much I can access, and it will be the same for you as well if you decide to go down the awakening route. And it's just to really give you a taster of what's in store, what is accessible to you, because it literally blows my mind. When I think of where I started 2 years ago, I had no idea or clue whatsoever that I would be here now going through this. And it's sort of just is bigger and better than anything I ever dreamt of. I've always been so excited by magic and universal insight. You know, I love the teachings of Abraham Hicks. And now to have Liv and Raf teaching even more leading edge stuff than Abraham Hicks. So the Abraham teachings they're bringing through are the next level. So we are literally here at the leading edge of the leading edge. And as I've been working with this for the last 6 months now specifically, I guess I just want to share what it's like with you, and just give you a taster of what's to come, because I am still only just scratching the surface. It's just insane. If I think how much my life has expanded over the last 2 years, I just can't even imagine what the next 2, 5, 10, 20 are going to be like, because there is just so much deliciousness to come. And that same deliciousness is accessible to each and every person on the planet. And to be able to share this new insight with you and share my journey with you just makes my heart sing, because as I said at the beginning, I want to help hundreds of millions globally to master the art of manifesting and beyond, because you are so powerful, but way more powerful than you even really and truly know. And I'm so excited to share this journey with you, basically. So if you have any questions, you can always email me through my website. I've got a Facebook group called Mastering the Art of Manifesting. I've got a Facebook page as well. I'm also on Instagram, and I've got a YouTube channel. But if you want to learn more about what I do, visit www.masteringtheartofmanifesting.com. Please feel free to share this podcast with anyone that you think would be interested in it. This is for those that are ready for more, basically. So I'm sending you so much love. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I can't wait for the next episode of the podcast that I'm going to share. I don't know what I'm going to talk about on the next podcast. So when you'll learn about me, if you don't know me very well yet, but you'll learn that I don't plan anything. I let the universe and my higher self, who is called Sarah, more to come on that, I let her and the universe lead me. So I look forward to seeing what it is that Sarah and the universe want me to speak about on the next episode of the podcast. But in the meantime, I hope this gives you a good understanding of what my journey is and the whole concept behind this, and I hope it excites you as much as it excites me. So I'm sending you so much love. Have the most amazing day, and I can't wait to see you on the next episode. Mwah. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast today. If you'd like to follow more of the work I do, you can learn more at www.masteringtheartofmanifesting.com.